Hi and welcome to this week's video. In this video we spend a lot of time getting a simple entry door completed and the combing. About 8 hours actually. So, see how I do it. Come on then. A little bit of work. I've just been varnishing the inside of the door and the outer skin. Second coat on there at the moment. I've cut out here, this is for the latching system to be able to latch. That's oversized. There'll be an aluminium plate which will be grooved to match the actual latches themselves, which are over here. Well, parts of them are. So these are the little bits which should be sticking out into the cockpit. I've cut in two small ridges there. I'm thinking I might actually paint those red and then polish it back so you've got two little red bars just to make it a little bit more. Oh, it's an emergency, you can open up, but I don't know if I'll bother actually. The ends of the arrow shaft, I inserted a section of tube, epoxied that into place, and once that's cured I've put it into the lathe, just turned it just around the end slightly to make it easier to engage, and at the other end I've done the same thing, put a piece of tube in like that, and that's so that when I drill through to put these in, the bolts have got something to squash up against rather than just the thin walled tubing, because the tube's quite thin. Arrow shafts aren't particularly thick walled, quite a hard aluminium, so that's what I've done. Next stage, once it's all cured, is to put this little lot in, set up with it fully latched closed, and make a mark to drill the hole so that these can be bolted through and dangle through the inner skin. And then I can bond the outer skin on. Well, not quite, I've got other little jobs to do, like fitting springs and washers. Okay, so here's the first one in. It's flush at this end. There's a split pin in just here which is just retaining the washer that's there for the spring to react against. There's a washer here against the wood so the spring doesn't eat into it. Allen screw in there. There is the lever. So the idea is, in flight this would be locked by the lever being down in the tang on the in a slot on the aluminium cover plate that's going to be there. To open up, just pull on there. That retracts that so it's out of the way from the other piece of wood, and then hopefully just relax and it will lock in, and away you go. So that's the system, nice and straightforward. So I've just got to replicate that going to the back end, and I can put the top skin on. There's the rear catch in, exactly the same as the front one, except I've got the spring further out, but it does allow both of these to fully undo. You see there's a gap between them, and there we go. So I can now put the top cover on, being very careful I don't put glue just so it'll run down onto the latches. That would be a little bit awkward, but there we go. And this is the front starboard combing section going into place, being bonded in. It needs to be cut back to the line. I don't know if you can see that line that's sort of drawn on there. That'll be where it's cut back to. At the moment it's just everything's clamped. It's making contact with the port side, just slightly off centre. That's quite deliberate because we're going to have a scab patch going over the top from about here to where the other cabane strut section is, just wrapping around the back end of the cabane strut, because there's going to be an infill piece there, and linking this lot making up that joint and linking it all to the next section going forward, but that's going to be another day. So once this is cured, I can send back the joint just there to the vertical frame section, and then I can bond it on the skin for the outer door. So that's going to be tomorrow's fun, hopefully. Well, there's the door skin all clamped up, ready to go, just waiting for it to cure. Got to sand back this to get the clearance here like it is there. I just want to increase the clearances a bit, so I've sort of set it up that way. Still need to dress, we need to dress this bit out here, and that edge there will need to be dressed back as well, but the door will come off as soon as this lot's sorted. I need to run a razor saw up, cut it off, and the door will lift out of position and be ready to go. We'll start drilling holes and putting in screws and sanding things and sorting that out. So that's the plan to get done this week, is to have this door off, ready to go, have this cut back ready, and then I can start doing the rest of the little fiddly bits to go along with this. It's got these to be bonded, or this one to be bonded in, and I need to start making up aluminium plates and things for the catches to finish that lot off. I've cut the door off by running a razor saw up this way to get that bit cut, operated the clamps, and the door just sort of falls off, which is nice. I've just got to peel this these bits of tape which I use to stop it from gluing onto here. So this needs to have a bit of a clean up yet. I've drilled out these holes to 4mm and put in the thread inserts for the screws to hold the hinge down, and I've glued in this door support section here, which is currently clamped. So we're sort of ready to go. The doors here ready to be cleaned up, and once I've done that, I'll do the drilling and insertion of thread inserts into the lower section of the door there, and we'll have a hinge door we can play with, see how that comes out. I'm terribly sorry, but for some reason a lot of video didn't come out. The camera didn't want to focus, and I think it was because the little thing that does the auto focus was covered with sawdust and things. But effectively the crew entry flap is complete. There it is in the up position. I'll show you from the other side. So there it is, latched closed. Looks quite reasonable. There's a little bit of tidying up that needs to be done in a couple of places, but there we go. Let me open it up and show you close up. So there we have the catch system. This is the plate which I just made out of 1mm aluminium, just deep enough for me to countersink. Little brass thread inserts behind, so they're just flush. And I've put in, well, nearly all the screws. There's a couple which aren't in at the moment, going along here for the hinge. So that works reasonably well. Bits I want to tidy up. I want to tidy up where the rods go into. I would like to make that a bit bigger, and then make up some form of socket to make it a bit harder wearing. Well, at the moment I'm sure it's quite good, but I just want to make it bigger, and then I can put a little aluminium thing into there, let that bond up and then go. So there we have it. Really, it seems to work. I put a little packing piece along the edge here to bring it up to the same height as the hinge. Same on the other side there. That's been rounded over. All this lot's been cleaned up. This section now will be painted grey. The colour that the interior is going to be a paler grey than the seat and that. And then the outside here will be coated with the covering material so that it matches in with the rear fuselage and the outside over there, so it won't be seen. But there we have it, latched in, nice and easy, nice and firm. As I said, I can only apologise for the missing video, but there's nothing I can do about that. Well, that's it for this week, folks. Awful lot of time spent to do one small entry flap and a little bit of work on the combing, but that's how it goes. A lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, 8 hours. I'm really sorry that we lost some of the video for making up things like the locking plate and stuff like that for you to see. But there we go, it's not always perfect here. Next week, well, we'll see what we get up to. I've got a bit more cleaning up to do for the combing. Might start looking at the next section going forward, and a little bit more work on the instrument panel. But we'll see what we get to. So, keep well, bye now.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.